back. Season number 2 of Office Hours. Josh, the White Prop Principal of Memorial Pathway Academy in Garland ISD, Garland, USA. Ready to rock and roll. You heard that bell ringing? That means we're here for Office Hours, a 20-minute problem-solving show. So it's very important that if you have an opinion, you have an idea, you share it. If you're watching this on the rebroadcast, like it and share it and tag somebody else so that everyone gains the knowledge, because everything we provide you on these shows, especially today, are real-world examples that have happened to somebody. Take it away, Dean Packard.
How about that? Tuesday nights are back, Josh Tovar, and it's great to be here because these are areas and times where we get a little bit better with a scenario that nobody on this panel knows right now. Well, Josh just sent it out. There was a little bit of wait time, but we're going to be ready to rock and roll. Hey, guys, welcome aboard. I'm Dean Packard, one of the co-founders of Unlock the Middle. I'm super excited to have you with us tonight from across the country to dig into something in education that we all have to deal with. So if you could for me right now, let's go around the horn really quickly. Your name, your current school, your role, and years in education. Let's start off first with Ryan.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me on. My name is Ryan Marcus. I am from far west El Paso, Texas. I am an assistant principal at Sierra Vista STEAM Academy, and this is my 12th, going on 13th year in education.
Outstanding. Welcome to the panel tonight. Appreciate you being here. Billy, you're up.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having me. Billy Linson, principal at Juan Seguin High School in Arlington, Texas. This is my 19th year in education, my second year as principal. And so I'm fired up to be able to kind of share and collaborate with you guys this evening.
Awesome. Welcome aboard, Billy. Glad to have you at the table. And Jim, welcome to the show.
Thank you. So Jim DeLune here. I'm up in Hudson, Wisconsin, a beautiful suburb of St. Paul, Minnesota. I am starting my 30th year in education, my 22nd as a middle school principal.
Wow. Welcome aboard and great stuff right there. JT, lead us to the promised land.
Here we go. We got to know a little bit about you before we get into the scenario. So real quick question. Simple answers. Dean Packard.
Yes, sir.
Applebee's or TGI Fridays?
Applebee's.
Ryan Marquez.
Same question?
Yes.
Applebee's.
Billy.
Ooh, I got to go TGI Fridays.
Jim.
I'm with Billy, TGI's.
The answer is TGI Friday. You
Oh,
can't
man,
get away from
you
that.
always go against what I say.
You
So,
think it's 80.
these answers are already preloaded.
Let's get this right. All right, here we go. Here we go. Gentlemen, Billy, what do you carry that is special on your wallet, in your pocket daily? Do you carry anything that's special?
Chapstick.
Why?
Gotta have it. My lips get dry from talking all the time. If I don't have chapstick, I lose my mind for the day.
Ryan Marquez.
You know what? I got to go with chapstick too, but if I'm going to give a different answer, I always have a pen. Always.
Pen, all
A
right.
pen.
Jim?
Well, on my keychain, I have a little thing. It's a little strip of leather my wife gave me. It marks the longitude and latitude spot of the place where we met. We've been together 35 years, so that works for me, and I have it on me every day.
Love it. Dean Packard.
I keep the code to my school in case I forget it and I have to get in there, man. Sometimes I'm getting older. I got to remember a lot of things. Easy, Josh Tovar. Call me out one more time.
Yes, Mr. Seasoned Administrator. And I carry my dearest mom's last wristband before she went up to her kingdom. She's always in my pocket, in my heart, and in my spirit. Because without her, obviously, without our moms, we're not here on this planet. So, last question. Very simple. Jim, do you wash the dishes or do you put them in the machine?
A little bit of both. You know, there are certain items that they're not allowed in the machine. So after I load the machine, sometimes I got to finish up by hand.
Jim, you're a politician after 30 years. Make a decision. Billy.
In the machine.
All right. Billy.
I'll wait till my wife gets home.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Ryan, save him. Answer, Ryan.
Dishwasher, dude, always the machine.
Dean Packard.
I'm going to say more dishwasher than by hand.
All right. The answer is wash it with your hands. Then you know it's done for real. You don't save all that water, second wash. Wash them with your hands. Here we go. Here is your scenario. Hey, America. Hey, South Dakota. Tell me what you would do. Let me read it to you. One of your regular substitutes who is positive and is active when covering your classes, who is so good that he's on the preferred list to be called, confiscated a student's cell phone on a Friday and didn't turn it in to administration. The parent comes in on Monday to pick up the cell, and you try to find out who had the darn cell. You found out that it was a substitute who confiscated the cell and is not at your school that day. And you can't find where the cell is located. So the parent leaves very upset, as we can all imagine. You call the sub at home, and they tell you that they will be in tomorrow, Tuesday, and needs to talk to you. Well, at bus duty Tuesday morning, the sub tells you that he did confiscate the cell, but left it in the room at the end of the day last Friday. They don't have the cell, and the cell is not in the room he substituted in. You know that the upset parent is coming in to see you in 30 minutes. Billy, what do you do?
Wow. I'm going to be honest and upfront. That's always worked for me best going forward, right? With the parent, and just elaborate and explain what happened. This is the situation that we're in. We're going to look into it a little bit further and see what we can do to help the situation, but just being forward with the parent instead of them kind of stalling and backpedaling a little bit, I think is the best approach for me.
Ryan?
30 minutes. The lot can be done in 30 minutes. I'm taking the sub's word for what he said, knowing that if the sub is as trusted as you explained him to be, taking his word, and I'm going straight to the cameras. I'm trying to see who was in and out of that room between Friday and that time, and try to, see if I can see what sort of information I can get within that 30 minutes. That way I can give the parent more of an upfront answer. And then, going back to what you said, Billy, just being honest up front, and, hopefully within that time can come to some sort of, conclusive investigation.
Dean Packard.
I'm going to go to the department head, somebody who might be in that cluster of classrooms, to see if anything was said or seen. More importantly, I love the answer about the video, to see if anything can be seen. Generally speaking, the videos aren't in the classrooms where I am, so they would be in the hallway, so it might have a hard time with that. But I'm also going to go back to like I said, the substitute in the morning, and try to see what I can find. I mean, these are things, and I'm also going to get my assistant principal involved, so we have another body that can listen to it. And that's, I'm going to share the wealth, but we're going to be honest and upfront with those parents, and we're going to say we're going to get to the bottom of it. A lot of these things take time sometimes to find the right answer.
Jim?
Yeah, I agree with Ryan. 30 minutes is gold in this opportunity to really dive in. I go straight to my custodians. The folks that might be in the room afterwards might have an idea, might have set it aside somewhere because they picked it up after hours on a Friday and thought this shouldn't be sitting out all weekend. But then, if push comes to shove and you don't have an answer, the only option you have is to be upfront and own it and talk to the parents and figure out where you go from there.
And first of all, a sub should never have access to taking somebody's phone anyway, so we're going to have a deeper conversation with that. So go ahead, Josh. What's the real answer, Josh? Come on, Josh.
No, hold on. No, because you're speaking from your part of the country. In our part of the country, yes, they can.
Well, you have your own rules down there.
No, that's what. No, well, it's Texas, but that's besides the point. But let's finish this. Let's finish this out.
Yeah.
We realize that the cell phone is gone, and that parent is there. We have to find a conclusion to this scenario, because there is a conclusion. Take it away, Billy. You don't have a cell phone, and the parent is P.O.
Well, we got to kind of consider, once we realize that it may have been an error on our part or the sub's part, we're going to have to probably consider how we can either compensate that parent, bring in a receipt for the value of the phone, and see what we can do to hold ourselves accountable, because that's an error on our part.
Ryan?
I agree. I mean, we definitely need to hold ourselves accountable. And, I'd like to see how, what the parent would think about, how they would like to see the situation rectified, and, what some of their suggestions would be, and, how we can work together to come to a consensus on how to make this bad situation better.
Jim?
Yeah, I first and foremost, you take full accountability. That should never happen. At the end of the day, it's on us. But then I'm with Dean. To me, the big piece now I'm focused on is once we get, reach an agreement with the parents, how do we assure this never happens again? How do we get to that sub? How do we talk to the folks that might have an opportunity to train the subs at the beginning of the year and talk to these folks as they come into our building? We need them. They're heaven sent. We have to have subs, but we also have to support them and give them the knowledge and the tools to be successful.
Dean Packard.
I love the idea of accountability for the school, but I will tell you this: I'm going to be looking for some time. I'm going to ask for some grace for a couple of days. Sometimes things pop up, but unfortunately, cell phones are a hot commodity. They do leave quick if they're left out, and that's a sad thing. But again, I'm going to ask for some time, like anything else, and I'm not going to rush to anything. If we are accountable for it, we'll find a way to compensate, as Billy and Ryan said.
So in this scenario, so you all know, the substitute did pay for the cell phone.
Whoa!
After we were provided with a receipt. After we provided a receipt, obviously you can't pay the up-to-date price, but we do something for that. So what happens in your district, Billy, in regards to substitutes and cell phones?
Same thing. I'm gonna kind of go back to what you guys were talking about. We've got to provide some training for the subs going forward about the process of handling cell phones going forward, so that doesn't happen again. Same situation, right? We would compensate for that if the parent is able to provide the value of the phone, and like you said, we wouldn't pay the buying value; we would pay the kind of use value of the phone and compensate them for that.
Hey, gentlemen, something happened here in my house. Dean, take it away. Close it off, please.
Absolutely. So, Ryan, your thoughts?
So, going to what Mr. Tovar had said about how we handle substitutes and cell phones in our district. I think I'll speak more for my campus than my district. In Texas, our substitutes can confiscate items like that. However, I would err against that at my campus. I would just have the substitute contact someone in administration to come assist, in the classroom if there is a situation like that going on. That way we can handle it directly and we know exactly what's being sent where and who's in possession of what. I would advise the sub to just seek assistance from administration before taking any action like that.
Probably sage advice right there. I agree with you.
Dean, can I add one more?
Please, yeah.
Thought, who I also don't want to let off the hook in this situation is a student necessarily, right? I want to have a conversation with the parent and the student about the expectations, the phone expectations, and how we kind of got to this point to where the phone was taken up. So I definitely want to have that conversation with the parent and the student. Great point right there as well. Jim.
Yeah, in our building, and we're very different than our high school. We actually want our folks to confiscate the phones, but then the instruction is you turn it into the office, because the first thing we need to do is communicate to parents. We have the phone and ask them what their wishes are. Sometimes parents say, keep it for a day or two. Other times they say, make sure my child has that before they leave school today, because that is an absolutely important, vital tool for our family. So again, it gets back to it's a tough situation to be in, but we own it, and then make sure that we are training folks and communicating with folks so it does not ever happen again.
At our school, we take a little bit of a different slant. We're trying to, there's been a push across the state to have cell phone free schools, which I'd love to see happen, but it's not, we didn't subscribe to that. What we did is we bought plastic sheaths for every learning environment, whether I'm in a vocational technical high school. So if you're in a shop or if you're in a classroom, when you walk in a classroom, you're dropping your cell phone right into that sheath. So everybody has access to, nobody has access while the learning is going on, and the kids can get it at the end of the day. Therefore, you're not having a particular teacher just take something away from somebody because the kids aren't having it. So again, you try to mitigate those circumstances to work against those things coming up. And if you can get there, that's wonderful. These are tools that kids are used to having, and it's part of who they are, and it's part of their fiber. So it's not easy. So let's talk quickly about the cell phone policies in your school right now. Billy, why don't you start off? Are kids allowed to have them with them all day long?
They're allowed to have them with them. They cannot have them out or use them. We have a BYOT red policy. It's only green if the teacher allows it. So in class, they're not to have phones. at our campus, we don't allow them to have phones in the hallway. So when they leave and transition and go during class, they want to go to the restroom or to a different location, to another classroom, they cannot have the phone in the hallway. They leave the phone in the classroom.
Awesome. Okay, Ryan, you?
My situation's a little unique. I'm at an elementary school, so less than half of our population have any cell phone. So that's half the population we don't have to worry about in terms of technology. But for our older students, we do advise that first thing in the morning they turn it off, put them in their backpack, and just keep them away for the whole day. Prior to being at my elementary school, though, I was at a middle school in which we had a very similar policy to what Billy just described. They shouldn't be out while they're in transition or in instructional time or anything like that.
Okay, that makes sense. And having the younger kids is a little bit different. I do
Yes.
I appreciate that being a middle school principal too, but not at the elementary level. I don't know that. So Jim.
Well, our policy is that cell phones, any two-way communication devices need to be locked in lockers all day long.
Love that.
We have a pretty nice camera system here. We've never had anything in the last 20 years stolen out of a locked locker. So we just don't allow them. We're a one-to-one Chromebook school, so kids have a device. If they need to email mom and dad, they can. And so there really is no excuse to have that cell phone out between the start of the day and the final bell.
Absolutely. Smart man right there. Very strategic. Melissa, welcome to the show. We're glad you're here.
Thank
Melissa,
you.
we're going to go backwards for a second. We have about 4 minutes left. We want to give you a chance to talk. So first of all, where you're from, what your role is, and your years in education.
All right. Well, my name is Melissa Jones Chunu. I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma. I've been in education since 2001 formally, but really I've been in education all my life through the church. I was raised up collegiate, so I had Sunday school, YPWW, all of the above. So I was always teaching then. I am the assistant principal at Celia Clinton Elementary School, and love it, love it, love it. What was the other question?
Just your years in education.
Oh, years. Since 2001. So going on 22, 23, because I took a little bit off when my mom passed away and when I had my kid.
All right, so you got veteran status right there. So the scenario is this. So a student had a cell phone in class and a substitute teacher confiscated it. And unfortunately, through the confiscation process, the phone ended up disappearing. And the parents came in upset. How would you deal with that situation if you had to deal directly with the parents, knowing that the cell phone couldn't be found and you had to offset the parents coming in? What would you do?
Well, again, we would have to go back to what our policy was. At the beginning of the year, we would have sent out a cell phone policy. Our cell phone policy at our school is that kids are not allowed to have cell phones in the classroom. If they need to contact parents, they can do so through the office. Now, if we typically we don't take cell phones because we don't want that liability on us at our school. And so we would, I guess we would have told the substitute that, that policy that we had at the school. And so if a parent came up, if a parent came up and of course we don't let parents go to teachers hostel. We always have our teachers back. But definitely would explain to the sub that we don't take phones away from our kids, but definitely have the back of the sub in front of the parent, because we always want to put on a united front for our parents, because some parents will try to take advantage of that, any type of a bridge, and we want that sub to come back. So definitely just explain that policy to the sub if they don't know that, and go on from there. We've actually had that happen before.
Yep, that proper training for the substitutes in the beginning of the year is paramount, and what to do in these type of situations. Again, we've all faced things like that, and this is Josh Tovar's favorite one. I think this must have happened in his building the other day. That's why he brought this up right now, and he's trying to get some feedback on it. So yeah, the cell phones present a problem, and I can tell you right now, the research will show that students and cell phones in the learning area, it deters them from getting their maximum performance and maximum learning capability. So we have to do our very best to keep them at a distance at all possible. So again, that was 20 minutes worth of a showcase of an opportunity here, guys. One last thing very quickly about cell phone uses. What do you think? Where are we going with this? What do you think, Billy? What's going to happen with cell phones in schools?
I think it'll go away, right? It's just kind of been a generation or era that uses it. My daughter's in 5th grade, and her interest in using the cell phone is very limited now. So I think it's just kind of a passing fad that'll pass in a couple of years.
Love to think that you're right on that, but the jury's still out on it. Ryan.
I'd love to think that too. I think we're still in a time where we're trying to balance out whether it's a good tool to use in the classroom or have in schools, or if it's something that we can, like Billy was saying, just kind of phase out. I think it's still up in the air right now, Dean. I don't know if I can give you a straight answer of where I think we're going with that, but I can tell you where I hope we would go. I hope we would go more in terms of what Billy was saying. I'm
in agreement with you right there. Jim.
Well, I think the studies are in, and we know what screen time means to kids. And so I think as our younger parents get older and realize that cell phones should be out of the classroom, we'll get more public support, and eventually they'll be phased out. The kids will still have them, but we'll have stronger support from our communities to keep them out of the classrooms.
Bingo right there. And Melissa.
Actually, being a music teacher, I actually utilized my cell phone in the classroom when I taught high school. So I really think it's a great tool to use in the school as long as students are taught to use it responsibly. Sorry. Yeah, I really think it's a really good tool. No, cell phones are not going anywhere. Kids need phones when they get home, when they're walking home, when they're driving home, if something were to happen. So what we have to do is we have to teach them how to use it responsibly.
Oh, there it is, the responsible piece. And actually, us as leaders, we need to take the reins on that and ensure that both teachers and students understand exactly what that might look like going down the road. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our office hours are over. I want to say thank you very much for tackling this situation that we have in education tonight. I know Josh had to skip out right now, but I know he would say, thank you so much for being here. Ryan, Billy, Melissa, and Jim, we appreciate you coming in and going through the process with us about these real life educational topics that we have to discover. So thank you so much, guys. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
awesome.
Nice
Night,
to
everybody.
Yep. Good night. And there it is once again. First office hours in the books. Thank you so much, guys. Everybody out there, have a great evening, and thank you for joining us tonight.